the Legrand AV booth here today. At lunch, you guys could be eating, but instead you're hanging out here with us, which is awesome. Don't worry, we'll be brief. I'm Megan Needler. I'm the Senior Director of Channel Marketing for Legrand AV. Super excited to be standing here with the leaders from SAVE to do the introduction. We're surrounded by awesome product, but we're actually not here to talk about product. We're here to talk about how we can lead sustainability in AV. And so Legrand has been passionate about sustainability and corporate social responsibility for years as a European-based company. We've been doing some pretty cool stuff. That shared passion is what brought this partnership together. And when we talk about bringing sustainability to AV, we got to acknowledge that we're a little bit behind. Christina and Kelly are going to talk to you about some of those factors, not just in AV, but in America. And so that's where, being a European-based company, we have had a lot of experience in how to take the goals of the United Nations and really digest those down into things that are actionable for our organization. It's a lot of goals, as you can see, 17 different sustainable development goals that globally we're intended to be aligned around. And here in the US, as you'll learn from Christina and Kelly momentarily, we just aren't socializing this enough. And so we're here to talk about how we can get better at that in the AV industry. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to this crew to introduce you to SAVE.
Okay, so from climate change to environmental degradation to poverty and inequality, our businesses, our communities, and even our planet are facing accelerating threats to sustainability. Our survival really is hanging in the balance at this time. What is the role of our industry in solving climate crisis and achieving sustainable development? It's no secret we're here today at InfoComm, where there's an increasing demand for AV solutions. There's more demand than we have to supply, actually. And there's a rapid pace of tech development, which is creating shorter life cycles in products. And this has led directly and indirectly to serious environmental consequences. There is no unilateral process in dealing with where this equipment goes at the end of its life cycle. What is the effect on the environment as the components pile up somewhere in landfills and dumps? What happens to the people who are picking through the old gear, looking for sellable parts to eke out a subsistence income? Are there alternative materials that are more eco-friendly and easily recycled? Who is going to motor these changes?
All right, we're going to take a poll, guys. How much e-waste do you think North America and Europe generated in 2019? 500,000 tons, 5 million tons, 25 million tons, or 50 million tons?
How many 500,000? Okay, how many 5 million?
50 million.
50 million?
50 million?
The Center for Sustainable Enterprises conducted a study in 2020 entitled Sustainability in the Supply Chain. This study found that in 2019 alone, over 50 million tons of electronic waste, including displays, cables, power supplies, and other AV equipment, were generated in North America and Europe. This number has increased an astonishing 21% over 5 years. All right, we're going to do one more poll. What percentage of used electronics do you think are recycled? 70%, 50%, 40%, or 20%?
How many say 70?
70.
Is it 40%? 20%?
In 2019 alone, less than 20% of used electronics were recycled worldwide. Accra, Ghana is home to the largest e-waste landfill in the world. The United Nations estimates that the US and Western European countries ship 50 million tons of used electronics to this region every year. The 1.7 million people in Accra suffer from skin diseases and ailments caused by contamination from e-waste. Harmful materials seep into their water sources. This is not just a problem in developing nations. Unregulated pollution, contamination, and dumping occurs in our local communities throughout the U.S. Chemical plants who supply materials used by producers of AV equipment and computer chip manufacturers are some of the main culprits. Like most technology sectors, the AV industry has a large and growing impact on sustainability problems. Regrettably, our industry contributes to these problems in several ways. At the same time, we are well positioned to make substantial progress in responsible waste management, carbon emission reduction, and reduced energy usage. There's increasing evidence that customers and employees want to be associated with AV companies focused on sustainability. You found the right people here, guys. According to the Wall Street Journal, in just the next decade, there will be upwards of $12 trillion in business opportunities for companies that align themselves with sustainable development. Our ability to generate funding, win business, attract employees, and lead our communities to build healthy and equitable environments depend on people like us acting now, where we can make a difference, which is in our own industry.
In 1987, the countries of the world officially defined the term sustainable development to mean meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of generations in the future to meet their own needs. In September 2015, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development was adopted by all 193 member nations of the UN, including the United States, in a unanimous vote, each one pledging to achieve these indivisible and universal goals in each nation by 2030 in order to ensure a sustainable world for all people. At the heart of this agenda are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, with 169 targets to accomplish. An urgent call for action by all countries, the SDGs recognizes that ending poverty, which is goal number 1, must go hand in hand with quality health care and education, reducing inequality, while tackling climate change and working to preserve our forests and oceans. The 2030 Sustainable Development Goals are comprehensive, systemic, and totally interrelated, and we need to implement them now. Unlike people in most countries, most Americans have not heard of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. So I want to take a moment and ask, who has heard of the Sustainable Development Goals before today's presentation? Okay.
Got a couple.
A few. Now, don't feel alone if you haven't heard about them before, because most Americans have not. The U.S. is the only advanced industrial nation that has not had plans they are pursuing to achieve these goals. Every other developed industrial nation has made reports on their progress, as has LeGrand and hundreds of other international corporations now.
Thank you. All right. Goal 12 of the SDGs focuses on responsible manufacturing, reuse, repurposing, recycling, and reduction at every stage of the product life cycle. This begins with how materials are sourced for manufacturing and concludes with how we dispose of the products at the end of their useful life. Electronics are central to work and social life in developed nations. If we were able to create a circular economy in this industry, we could save upwards of 54 million tons of e-waste per year. While e-waste presents huge challenges, it's also a massive opportunity for us. The e-waste generated in 2019 is valued at $62.5 billion. We can find examples of e-waste in almost every product integrated into our AV projects. Focusing on sustainability isn't just essential for the health of our planet, it directly benefits the health of our businesses and our industry by better positioning us to address new market opportunities. It helps to reduce our exposure to a variety of business risks and strengthens the very foundations of the economy: planet, people, prosperity, peace, and partnership.
What is called for is leadership in this industry to steer the industry in the right direction. The solutions exist. We must bring together stakeholders in our industry who understand the problem and see the necessity to act. This is why we've recently launched SAVE, Sustainability in AV, an independent nonprofit organization to bring the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals to our industry here in the United States. SAVE is the first industry-wide US-based organization to bring stakeholders together to take concerted action to achieve these goals. SAVE provides a vehicle for our industry to take concerted action, as well as to serve as a bridge to other partnering organizations, NGOs, who share our conviction that urgent action must be taken to preserve the health of our planet, our communities, and our people. SAVE is launching an education campaign about the 2030 SDGs and will provide educational forums on how companies in the AV industry can adopt these goals. Save a second life. Give your AV equipment a second life at the end of its first life by donating it through a network that SAVE is establishing in partnership with non-government organizations and educational institutions throughout the United States. Get SAVE certified. SAVE will provide an educational program for companies in the AV industry. This includes an educational program, a company assessment, and tools to develop your own plan around the Sustainable Development Goals. And I want to give a shout out to Debbie Williamson and her team at Tempest Technologies. Debbie is the president of Tempest Technologies, and her company is going through a 2-day session, and at the end, her company is going to become SAVE certified. To learn more and to get involved with SAVE, please sign up with Brian Riley if you haven't done so already. Here is a QR code to check out our newly launched website, saveav.org. I hope you can join SAVE and explore ways that you can take meaningful action now to achieve these goals that are critical not only for the health of our industry, but the future of our planet. Thank you.